Chapter 4 The Depths of Time. The morning light filtered through the alien canopy, casting long shadows that seemed to twist and shift as Taylor moved forward. Each step he took felt oddly elongated, as if the very fabric of time was stretching around him. The landscape, which had been a vibrant tapestry of life and color, now appeared disjointed, with some parts moving in slow motion, while others blurred past in a dizzying rush. Dr. Stephen Taylor, who had now grown accustomed to the strange and unpredictable nature of this world, felt a new kind of disorientation, one that gnawed at the edges of his sanity. As he continued his journey, the astronaut noticed something even more peculiar. The flora and fauna around him seemed frozen in time. A bird-like creature with iridescent scales hovered mid-air, its wings caught in an eternal beat, while a stream nearby flowed in fits and starts, droplets hanging in the air like jewels before crashing back into the current. The scene was hauntingly beautiful, yet profoundly unsettling. It was as if Taylor had wandered into a fracture in reality itself. His pulse quickened as the world around him grew more chaotic. The sky above flickered between day and night in the span of seconds, the sun and twin moons playing a disjointed game of hide and seek. Taylor's breath hitched as he saw himself standing in a field of bioluminescent plants. Yet another version of himself, only for the vision to vanish as quickly as it appeared. The lines between past, present, and future blurred, leaving Taylor trapped in a maelstrom of temporal distortions. Visions began to flood his mind. He saw towering structures crumbling into dust, only to rebuild themselves in reverse. He witnessed battles fought by alien beings, their forms flickering like shadows cast by uncertain flame. And then, more chillingly, he glimpsed possible futures, himself, older and worn, standing in the ruins of this planet, or perhaps something more sinister, a future where he failed, where the alien world consumed him entirely. Taylor struggled to anchor himself in the present, but the visions pressed in on him, vivid and inescapable, like ghosts of time demanding his attention. Dr. Taylor's grip on reality wavered as he grappled with these disjointed moments. The scientist within him tried to make sense of it all, to find logic in the chaos, but logic felt like a distant concept in a place where time itself was unraveling. He had to move, to push through this temporal storm, but the path forward seemed as uncertain as the shifting sands beneath his feet. Taylor pressed on, determined to escape the disorienting effects of the temporal anomaly. As he ventured deeper into the heart of the distortion, the world around him began to stabilize, albeit in an eerie stillness. The landscape ahead was starkly different, an untouched tableau of the planet's ancient past. Here, the passage of time seemed to have stopped entirely, preserving everything in a pristine state. The ruins he encountered were unlike any he had seen before. Gone were the crumbling walls and overgrown monuments. In their place stood towering spires and vast plazas, unmarred by the decay of time. These structures, with their geometric position and delicate carvings, hinted at a civilization that had once mastered the very essence of time itself. Taylor wandered through the silent city, his footsteps echoing off the polished stone, a lone explorer in a world frozen in its prime. As he moved through the streets of this preserved city, Taylor's eyes were drawn to the artifacts scattered around. They were tools, devices, and intricate objects, all left exactly as they had been in the moment time had stopped. He picked up a small crystalline object, its surface etched with symbols that pulsed faintly with a forgotten energy. It was a memory crystal, he realized, a repository of knowledge and history from this ancient civilization. Taylor activated the crystal, and his mind was flooded with images and sounds. He saw the rise of this great empire, its people masters of both science and art. They had harnessed the power of time, using it to explore the far reaches of the universe and to extend their lives beyond natural limits. But there were also hints of their downfall, experiments that had gone too far, unleashing forces they could not control. The time distortions, Taylor realized, were a result of their hubris, a final echo in their greatest achievement and their greatest failure. The more Taylor explored, the more he understood the magnitude of what had been lost. This civilization had reached heights that humanity could only dream of, yet they had been undone by their own ambition. The time distortions were their legacy, a testament to both their brilliance and their folly. Taylor felt a deep sense of connection to these ancient people, as if their story was now part of his own. As Taylor delved deeper into the heart of the city, he found himself drawn to a central tower that loomed over the ruins. The structure, seemingly a focal point of the ancient civilization, pulsed with a strange energy. Taylor approached it cautiously, feeling the air around him grow thick with the weight of time itself. He stepped inside the tower, and the world around him shifted. The walls seemed to close in, and the floor beneath his feet vanished. Taylor felt himself falling, not through space, but through time. The sensation was disorienting, as if he were being pulled apart and reassembled in different moments, each one more vivid and disconcerting than the last. When he finally regained his bearings, Taylor found himself in the midst of the civilization's rise. He was no longer an observer, but an active participant, experiencing their worlds as one of them. He walked among the ancient people, felt their joys and sorrows, and witnessed firsthand the events that led to their downfall. The time loop trapped him in an endless cycle of their history, forcing him to relive their final days over and over again. Each iteration brought new details, new insights into the tragedy that had befallen them. Taylor saw the leaders of the civilization, their faces etched with worry, as they debated the use of their time-manipulating technology. He felt the ground shake as their experiments began to unravel, tearing apart the fabric of reality itself. And then, he heard the cries of the people as their world collapsed around them, their voices echoing through time like a mournful dirge. Taylor knew he had to escape this loop, but each attempt to break free only brought him back to the beginning, forcing him to relive the events with increasing clarity. The knowledge he had gained was valuable, but the cost was high. The line between his own identity and that of the ancient people began to blur, and Taylor feared he might lose himself entirely to the past. Desperation gnawed at Taylor as he searched for a way out of the time loop. He knew that the key lay in understanding the civilization's final moments, in deciphering the mistakes they had made and finding a way to avoid them. But the more he learned, the more he realized how difficult it would be to escape the fate that had befallen them. In a moment of clarity, Taylor recognized that the tower itself was the source of the loop, a device meant to preserve their history, but now twisted into a trap by the very forces it sought to control. He focused all his energy on disrupting the tower's power, using the knowledge he had gained from the memory crystals and his own scientific expertise. It was a battle of wills. Taylor's mind pitted against the ancient technology that had claimed so many before him. Finally, with a surge of determination, Taylor succeeded. The loop shattered, and he was thrown out of the tower and back into the present. The world around him stabilized, the distortions receding as the ancient power that held him captive began to fade. But the experience had taken its toll. Taylor felt drained, his body and mind battered by the ordeal. He knew he had gained something invaluable, a deep understanding of the planet's history and a glimpse into the future. But the price had been high. Taylor staggered out of the tower, the ruins around him silent once more. He had escaped the time loop, but the knowledge he carried was a heavy burden. The civilization's mistakes were now his to bear, and he vowed to use what he had learned to protect the planet from further harm. As Taylor began to recover from his ordeal, he noticed subtle changes in the environment around him. The air was charged with a strange energy, and the ground beneath his feet trembled with a low, constant vibration. The time distortions had not disappeared entirely. Instead, they seemed to have shifted, spreading outwards like ripples in a pond. The signs were ominous. The once stable ruins now showed cracks, and the flora and fauna around him behaved erratically, as if sensing the impending danger. Taylor knew that the time anomaly had destabilized the area, and its effects were beginning to spread. The planet was reacting to the disturbance, and the consequences could be catastrophic. Taylor realized that the danger was not limited to this isolated region. The entire planet was at risk, and he had to find a way to stop the spread of the anomaly before it was too late. The knowledge he had gained in the time loop would be crucial, but he would need to act quickly and decisively. Taylor set off with renewed urgency. The echoes of the ancient civilization's downfall rang in his ears, a warning that history might repeat itself if he did not intervene. The stakes had never been higher, and the weight of his responsibility pressed down on him like never before. But he was determined. He would not let the mistakes of the past destroy the future. With each step, the ground seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the planet, a reminder of the fragile balance that now hung. Taylor knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but he was ready. The fate of the planet, and perhaps of humanity, depended on his next move.